Well, good morning, all, and thanks for tuning in to the Whitfield Report bonus podcast slash stream slash whatever you want to call it for Tuesday morning. And I'm sorry we started 9 minutes late. I was supposed to start at 10:30. It's 10:40 now. So, about 10 minutes late, so sorry about that, but good morning to you all. No viewers yet, but hopefully some of the regulars will start to pop in here. Regardless, I just wanted to take this time. Usually I do a stream on Memorial Day, or a podcast on Memorial Day. It's been my tradition in the past to do a podcast on Memorial Day. And do that and just give my gratitude to the troops and to our veterans. And I want to do that today a bit and just say thank you to all the troops who are overseas currently. As always, we owe you guys a great deal of... We owe you a great debt as a country and as individuals. To all the vets who are serving, who served and are now home, thank you for your service. And especially to the wounded veterans who have sacrificed them, thank you for your sacrifice. And to the fallen who are in heaven, thank you for your service as well, and thank you for watching over us. And, Memorial Day is just a very special holiday to me, and we should all be thankful and honor the troops who have given so much for us here in America. I also wanted to just take a brief moment to say thank you to all of the people who tuned into the stream on Saturday night. I think that was my highest rated stream that I've done on this channel for the Whitfield Report, and I got close to 86 views, which I've got to be honest, I wasn't expecting. Usually I'm good if I get 40 live views per stream. That's usually pretty good for me. But no, I got 80, and I think now the stream count is up to 86. And I've gotten 20. I've already gotten something like 20 downloads on the audio podcast version. So that's pretty good, and by the end of the week I think that will have doubled even. So thanks for making Saturday's show great, and I see we have one view right now, and to whoever you are, hello, and thanks for tuning in. And so with that in mind, I think I'm going to do a lot more guest interviews, especially now that it's the summer and I have time to set more of those up. So Ryan kind of was a great start to kick off the summer interview series, and I've got a couple more people in queue that I want to get on the show. We're just arranging recording times, or I'm going to try and get them all on the podcast live, but obviously not all of them will be able to do the podcast live, so we'll have to have some pre-recorded streams. But that's no problem. Regardless, I will have some more interviews. So there's that, and let me know in the comments or in the live chat which you like better. Do you like it better when I just do a freeform one-off show like I've done the past couple weeks, where it's just me in front of the camera, talking about politics and pop culture and different subjects? Or do you like the when I have guests on more? Let me know. I tend to like to do a fair balance of those, where I do some streams where it's just me, and then I do some streams with the guests. Good morning, Zero. No, the stream does not come with coffee, although I probably should have had some coffee before starting this, because I'm kind of still lagging in the brain fog universe. But, and I'll admit that. But, anyway, good morning to you, and thanks for the like. Okay, now the reason why people have tuned into this, stream, and I didn't really announce I was going to do this stream in advance, so I apologize. That's the other thing, is usually with my streams, when I announce them, I get more viewers than not. But I want to take a moment to address the unbearables, and to the people on Twitter who have been accusing me of trying to sabotage Owen Benjamin. And for those of you who are regular listeners or viewers of mine, depending on whether or not you're listening to this on the podcast or watching the video or the live stream, I apologize for those of you who don't really know what's going on, but just to sum it up, a few days ago, last week actually, Owen Benjamin made some pretty, I wouldn't even call them heinous, because they weren't, I wouldn't even really say that they were that heinous. They were just bad. But he made some pretty bad insults towards a disabled comedian who's wheelchair bound. And this comedian, admittedly, he's even admitted that he kind of started the whole thing. But all this comedian did, his name is Joe. Joe just posted a remark on Owen's Facebook page, saying that Owen can't even sell out a full theater, just kind of roasting him on that. And that's all Joe said. So then Owen came back and saw that Joe was in like a wheelchair or something, and said that, nice prop. Does that wheelchair like add to your act? And so then Joe comes back and said, well, at least I didn't have to, leave Los Angeles, and I hope your wife is enjoying her guilt trip pregnancy or something. Now, I mean, that was a fair roast, I think, when, in response to the, is your wheelchair a prop? But then Owen, at least from my perspective, seemed to get pissed off immediately, and generally pissed off. And when he's pissed off, I've tended to notice this, he doesn't really think, he just, reacts. So, he got the unbearables, and he's admitted this on stream, too. He literally got the unbearables to crowdsource a whole bunch of wheelchair-related puns and insults. And rather than making one, Owen just dumped the whole thing on Joe. And as a result, he wound up looking like an asshole, more or less. Now, a bit of background on me, in case you didn't already know, I myself am in a wheelchair. I'm not one to get offended by wheelchair jokes when they're jokes, okay? That's the key word. If I'm in a situation where, guys are roasting on each other and it's all in good fun, and people are kind of making, wheelchair jokes at me and it's obviously a joke, then yeah, I think that's fair game. But Owen was just kind of being a dick, it seemed to me and to others. And so I tweeted at Joe Rogan and at Ben Shapiro and at Jordan B. Peterson. I'm a conservative. I believe in free speech, but I don't believe that what Owen Benjamin is doing necessarily qualifies as quote-unquote free speech or intellectual ideas. And, this isn't what the conservative movement stands for, making fun of disabled people. So I tweeted that at, I tweeted that at Rogan, Peterson, and Shapiro. Oh, and Dennis Prager, too. And almost immediately, the unbearables, not all of them, but a good portion of them, swooped down on my Twitter account and said, you're trying to sabotage Owen Benjamin because you're triggered because you're handicapped and, can't you take a joke? And then others were saying ridiculous things like they were trying to tell me how I should interpret a quote-unquote joke about disabled people. Yet they're not the ones with a disability. So that's kind of rich. They're trying to tell a disabled person, a disabled man, how they should interpret disability jokes when they're, perfectly able to, stand up and walk around without the aid of a wheelchair. Again, I'm not someone who gets triggered, by wheelchair jokes. I make plenty of them myself among friends. When we're roasting on each other, everything is fair game. But when it comes to the internet, that's the other thing. When you're making posts on Facebook and specifically like roasts and jokes. And this isn't just Owen, this is everyone I know. You really have to be careful with that shit online because things can get misconstrued. And it's even worse on Facebook than it is on Twitter, right? I think people expect Twitter to kind of be like a dumpster fire in some ways. But Facebook is more like long form, right? So people can write like longer posts on there. And for some reason, like, I guess, everyone in the world can see as Alana brings up. Well, I mean, everyone can see things on Twitter too, but like I said, I mean, like, I think here's the big difference between Facebook and Twitter, I guess. Like, people use Facebook to connect with their family and friends. Right, that's more of like an intimate thing. Whereas, Twitter, they just use it to like get their news and like spread opinions, and it's more rapid fire. So I think, people expect Twitter to be more of like a dumpster fire anyway, right? But, this was on Owen's Facebook page, and he was attacking a relatively unknown comedian. Again, that's how I interpreted it, and how a lot of other people who are outside of the Unbearables now interpreted it. I mean, even my guest, Ryan, mentioned on stream without any prompting from me, that, I wasn't even the one who brought it up. I think I was bringing it up. The funny thing with that during the stream too, I'll bring this up, is, so Ryan Marhofer, my guest, on the show on Saturday, which again, if you haven't watched it or listened to, you should either watch that on my YouTube channel after this, or you should download the podcast, one of the two. But we were talking about conservatives who are, kind of snowflake-ish and, SJW types in their own way. And, I brought up Tommy Lahren as kind of an example of, she was trying to say that, Kanye West couldn't be a conservative because, he's a rapper and he's had liberal positions before, and I brought up the fact that, a lot of people don't consider her a conservative because of the whole of her being pro-choice. And yet, she continues to like call out others and, kind of be flippant and nasty and just, rant on her final thoughts streams, and people know her as the angry girl from the internet. And Ryan brought up that a lot of people who are in the college Republicans, they actually see Owen Benjamin in kind of the same light. Like, he's just the angry guy who, like, tries to pass himself off as a comedian. And he's kind of like a right-wing, snowflake or comment. Again, that was Ryan who was, who essentially said that. I didn't lead him on to say that. And I asked Ryan, I'm like, oh, so you must have seen my exchange with with Owen's fan group. And Ryan's like, no, I just saw Owen boasting on Instagram about, insulting that handicapped comedian. And, those puns weren't funny. They were just douchey just in bad form. And, Ryan is absolutely true. But what I find funny is, that's kind of like an outsider's perspective. Like, it's true that I'm outside of the Unbearables now. I guess I've been excommunicated along with the rest of the Danger Zone, which, I got excommunicated from, a group, from an internet group. Big whoop. By the way, I know that it's 11 a.m. and that Owen is probably about to go live, but that's kind of why I planned this. I'm hoping that some of you in the Unbearables will either kind of pull away from this to see what I'm saying, or that you guys will immediately, watch this after. Because I know that you guys are obsessed with the Danger Zone secretly. Like, you're more obsessed with us than we are with Ellen. Okay. But I guess here's kind of the bottom line. Why I tweeted why I tweeted Owen's remarks to Crowder, Shapiro, and Peterson and Prager. Because a lot of the Bears have been, accusing me of trying to sabotage Owen's career along with the rest of the Danger Zone. Now, I won't speak for the rest of my colleagues in the Danger Zone. They can speak for themselves, and if they want to make a statement on this, they're all capable of doing so. I don't think any of them are trying to sabotage Owen either. But just speaking for me personally, I'm not trying to sabotage Owen at all. What I was trying to do by tweeting at Peterson, at Crowder, at Shapiro, and at Prager with that screenshot is I was really trying to specifically reach out to Crowder and Rogan more than anyone. I included Peterson and Prager because I thought that they should know about it anyway. But but my whole thinking was that at least Crowder and Rogan should kind of take Owen aside or call him or something and talk with him about it. And it's funny because I discovered Owen on Crowder, like back in December. Or maybe it was like September of last year, right? But then I kind of forgot who he was, and then I remembered who he was, again, after I saw him on Rogan's podcast, back in like February or March of this year. It was the one he did with Kurt Metzger, where Kurt was kept interrupting him repeatedly. But I remember one of the things that Rogan said about Owen, and this was in regards to, Owen was still on Twitter back then, and Rogan said, dude, whenever you're on Twitter, it's like verbal diarrhea. And, it's just like verbal diarrhea of rage. And, it's not constructive when you do that. Like, he was criticizing Owen at the time for, calling Anthony Jeselnik like a queer, or like a faggot with AIDS, or or it was something that was, pretty akin to what he was, doing with the whole wheelchair puns thing, and and Rogan was criticizing him for that, and at the time I was kind of on Owen's side of things, like, Rogan was just reacting clearly, it was just like a roast among comedians, and yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Now though, now that I've had a chance to, kind of see who Owen is, and experience his comedy a little bit more for myself. I mean, Owen does have his funny moments, but with this whole wheelchair puns thing, like, yeah, clearly I can see what Rogan means by the fact that Owen has a verbal diarrhea problem. He does. I mean, I think that's pretty clear by now. So, my whole intention with, letting those individuals know wasn't to sabotage Owen, but rather to let his friends kind of know what's going on, if they weren't aware already, so that they could kind of have like an intervention and talk to him, if they haven't done so already. But that was my intention for posting the screenshot. It wasn't to sabotage Owen. It wasn't to prevent him from performing at venues. That was the other thing, is some of the bears were saying that, like, oh, you're trying to, what, are you also trying to cancel venues and, sabotage ticket sales? No, guys. I don't even know where Owen is performing most of the time. That's how little I care at this point. B, I'm not going to call even if I did, I'm not going to call the theaters and, look each individual one up and complain, because, honestly, what is that going to accomplish? Right? Some of them might just say, so what? And not do anything. I mean, I would hope they would anyway. So I'm not trying to, get Owen banned from any theaters or whatnot. And I guarantee you, any theater that, cancels Owen from now on, it's not because of anyone in the danger zone. It's because they've probably seen that Instagram post, and they've probably seen his numerous other Instagram posts where he's just slamming people who disagree with them, and they probably don't want him there anymore. Okay? Any cancellations, or any canceled gigs, or any negative criticism that Owen receives now, it's on him entirely. It's not on any of us. But let's just suppose for a sec that these bears are right, and that I am trying to sabotage Owen. Right? Let's just take that as being true. Good morning, Kimmy. Let's just suppose for a sec that that's true. Okay? If I really wanted to sabotage Owen, do you honestly think I would tweet at Crowder and at Rogan and at Ben Shapiro, who are his friends? Well, I don't know if Shapiro is his friend, but, for sure, Crowder and Rogan are his friends. Do you think I would tweet at them if I were trying to sabotage him? Or would I tweet at the New York Times or Vox or one of those liberal rags? Right? if I were trying to sabotage him, I would personally tweet at the New York Times, or at BuzzFeed, or at like Right Wing Watch, or MSNBC, right? Somewhere where he's bound to get criticized more and, skewed by the SJWs. Okay? If I wanted to sabotage Owen, I would go to his, enemies, quote unquote. I wouldn't be going to his friends to say, hey, I think your friend is acting out a little. You might want to have a conversation with them. That's all I was trying to do when I tweeted out that screenshot. And that's all I'm going to say on that, and I'm only going to say that once. So whenever, one of the bears accuses me, I'm just going to link them to this video. So, one final thing on Owen that the Unbearables have said to me. Well, if you have a problem with Owen, why haven't you gotten in contact with him directly? And well, who says I haven't? I've tried to get in contact with him. I've tried reaching out to some of the bears, explain my situation. I've told the bears who will still listen to, I've asked them if there's a way you can get me Owen's phone number. Please let me know, because I would like to talk to him. I'm not sure about Brian or, anyone else in the danger zone, but I would still be willing to talk to Owen, in a civilized manner. That's not off the table for me. But I'm not going to pay $25 for the bear phone, right? Some of the bears have said, oh, well, if you want to talk to Owen, you're going to have to pay the money for the bear phone. No, fuck that. I'm not paying money. I'm not paying $25, moreover, to basically, call Owen, and on the chance that he might not even pick up, and, I'm gonna have some real harsh words for him, too, if I do talk to him. But if he's the man he says he is, and, says that he'll deal with criticism fairly, then he needs to hear me out. So, that's all I'm going to say on the Unbearables. I'm still willing to hear him out, but I also wanted to clear the air and, let people know why I did what I did, because, Twitter is a horrible place to explain stuff, and so is Facebook. Alana says in the chat, that's stupid, paying to air grief with someone. Oh, totally. But that's what the Unbearables want. They're literally saying to us, Alana, that we have to pay to use the stupid bear phone so that we can air our grief. So Owen or the bears, or I don't know who, they're still trying to get money from us. And otherwise they won't really talk to us. So, and like I said, to all my other podcast listeners who aren't related to, to the Unbearables and whatnot, I apologize for bringing this up, because I know this all probably bores you. But, at the same token, I did bring up Owen Benjamin. We did bring up Owen Benjamin on the podcast on Saturday a bit, so I wanted to explain to you all too a little bit more in depth what my whole issue with Owen is. Alright, so now that we have more people in the chat and viewing things, I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream, but I'll mention it again. The stream with Ryan was very successful. We had 80 live views total for the live, and then we've had 6 more over the week, plus 20 downloads of the audio podcast. So very successful, and that's just on Tuesday. I bet the audio podcast will be a lot higher by the end of the week. Okay, because not everyone downloads the podcast at the same time. But regardless, do you guys like it when I do more free flow, like, podcasts and shows where I read the news and whatnot and do commentary? Or do you guys like when I do interviews, more or less? Or do you guys like when I do kind of like a mix of the two, like I'm doing right now? I kind of want to gauge. I mean, I've kind of been doing half and half a lot lately. I did more just straight up commentary, stuff for a while. Now it's something I'm getting more into guests, but I'm just kind of looking for a general consensus. So, if any of you in the chat have any comments about that, let me know. And otherwise, if I don't see any comments here in the next few moments, I'll just end this stream, and you guys can let me know in the comments below after this video processes. So yeah, and this was fun too, also doing one of these kind of one-off streams too. I'm thinking I'll do like more of these too, because they're fun to do as well. I'm not sure if I'll do them every day. Today is Tuesday, so I might do one on Thursday as well. But anyway, just, like I said, let me know what you think we should do for the... Okay, Alana says, I think mixed is good, gives a good variety. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking too. But then again, I mean, I've had people comment on Twitter that I should do like, more interview shows, like 100% of the time. That I should turn the show into like an interview show. And then I've had people, just do, well, you should do just like, one-off commentary. Here's the thing. I find there to be a lot of podcasts that either do one or the other. Like, I love Joe Rogan's podcast, don't get me wrong. But his shows are all, he always has someone on. That's his format. And there are a lot of other podcasts that, that have like a guest on every week. Right? And, or there are podcasts that, always do, commentary shows where it's just the host, right? And they do that every week. So I kind of like to mix mine up and kind of, do a commentary show like, maybe 2 shows and then 2 shows I'll have guests and kind of do the back and forth. So that's just kind of how I've been, and I think people like that. But, I am amenable, to doing more guest interviews, or to, doing more solo shows, if you guys like. Yeah. Oh yeah, Sierra brings up a good point too. Ultimately, it's 80-90% what I want to do, and the rest is up to the viewer or user to, view. Oh yeah, Serial. And I get that too. I was just kind of taking a quick poll. So also, in terms of who I should have on, oh yeah, you're never gonna satisfy everyone. Yeah, no, Anna. I know that. Believe me, I've been doing podcasting for 10 years total, so I know that now. That is the other great thing though too is I've been doing the audio podcast for so long. This whole streaming thing with YouTube now and Facebook Live, like that's only come out within in the past 2 or 3 years. But I think I like that more than just doing strictly audio podcasting. I know that some people still like it when I just do audio podcasts, and you know what? They can download the shows, for free on iTunes and just listen that way. No one's making them watch the YouTube videos. But, I think YouTube live streaming, I think, it's fun. It gives people something to look at rather than just, audio waves. Those aren't really visual. Also, believe it or not, in terms of like producing the audio podcast, it's a lot easier for me to do the video live streams too, because I can just set up the stream and do my show, download the audio, extract the audio from the video, and then re-upload it. That's how I usually do it. Makes it a lot easier rather than having to like record, into like a podcasting software and then edit and do the filters. And also with this app I'm using, I can also play videos if I wanted to, which I've done in the past. So it just makes it a lot easier to do the podcast when I'm doing video live streaming online too. But anyway, so thanks for watching, and for those in the comments, let me know what you guys think of the show, and should I do more mixed, or should I do more interviews, or more solo shows? Let me know. And also, in terms of guests, I have some more lined up. But if you guys have any recommendations for, who you think I should bring on, or who you think an interesting guest might be, always feel free to tweet me. Again, the links are down here. You can follow me on Twitter at @70_NDC, hashtag Whitfield Report. You can follow me on Gab at Sam Whitfield, which I know I haven't been on in a while, but I'm going to check that pretty soon. Follow me on Instagram at @70_NDC. As I've said before, I don't post a lot of political stuff there. I post more like photos of Florida stuff and food and beer. Those are mainly the 3 things I post about. Non-political stuff, also music. But hey, if you like my more non-political stuff like the music commentary and whatnot, then definitely follow my Instagram. I also have an official website / blog, which I desperately need to update. That's thesamwhitfield.com. Someone already took samwhitfield.com, so I would just figured I would add the. And then again, if you're on Facebook, go to facebook.com/Whitfield Report and like that page over there. And I know that people in the Bears have also, and in the Danger Zone have also friend requested me personally, and if I know you, I appreciate that. But also, do me a favor and like the show's Facebook page as well. Alright folks, wow, we made it to a good even 45 minutes, and So I want to thank you for watching the stream for the morning. At least I might be back later this afternoon or evening. I might not. I'll probably be back Thursday for one of these, and without a doubt, I'll be back on Saturday for the regular show. Until then, good day, God bless, and God save this great nation.